Chances are, there is someone in this world that you really, really don't like. There is at least one person that raises your blood pressure a bit, that makes you angry, who just flat out disappoints you. While the majority of us do not have enemies in any sort of formal sense, literally going to war with or fearing for our own safety, every one of us has people who are opposed to what we stand for and who make our lives more difficult. Take a moment to think of who that is for you. It's okay to think about ideas in the abstract, but it's a bit more meaningful when we can truly apply it to our lives. Who is your enemy? Who is the person that you have nothing but ill will for? Who is that person, if you're really honest with yourself, that you actually hate? Maybe it's one of these people, but maybe it's a colleague, a neighbor, even a family member. Reach down into the depths of your heart for the ugliest feelings you have and ask yourself, who makes you feel these feelings? Got it? Fantastic. Now you know who you should be praying for. Now you know who needs your love more than anyone else in the world. Not exactly the advice you're going to get from the rest of the world. Love your enemies? No. There's just something so utterly repulsive about this idea, so counterintuitive. Why would I love someone who causes me harm? Why pray for those who do evil? Why give to someone what they would absolutely not give to me? In short, because Jesus says so. Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. To the person who strikes you on one cheek, offer the other one as well, and from the person who takes your cloak, do not withhold even your tunic. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from the one who takes what is yours, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. For if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Let's not forget that this is a God who knows how to take vengeance. This is a God who would be completely justified in wiping us out in a snap for the things we've done. And yet he chooses not to. He chooses to give us another chance and another chance and another chance. Why? Because what he seeks above all else is not vengeance or justice, it's conversion. There is nothing that pleases Jesus more than one sheep returning to the fold, than one sinner turning from their evil ways to live in holiness. Jesus is willing to leave behind the 99 good ones just to find the one bad one who might return. Like the father of the prodigal son, if we give even the slightest bit of contrition, he will run to us and embrace us even in our sin. Jesus' goal is not to destroy his enemies, it is to turn them into friends. He came to earth not for those who were faithful, but for those who were sick and against God, and he showed that he was willing to even bear insult and injury in order to win them back. That's the gospel. That's the essence of Jesus' teaching. He died for us sinners even though we don't deserve it. He forgives us even when he knows we'll sin again. He accepts our mistreatment humbly, willing to bear it for our sake. We love others not because they love us, but because God has loved us in our sinfulness and because we share the same goal as he does, to save those who are lost. One of the most inspiring people alive for me today is a man named Daryl Davis. He's an American R&B and blues musician, but more importantly, he's a black man who spends his time converting KKK members away from hate. Born to an officer in the Department of State Foreign Service, Daryl spent the first 10 years of his life traveling the world, experiencing nothing but respect for his family's position in the government. When his family moved to Chicago, this changed. Marching in a parade with the Boy Scouts, Davis had rocks and bottles pelted at him. Imagine that for just a second. A 10-year-old boy, a kid signing up to serve others, having grown adults throw things at him out of hate. It would have been completely justifiable had he grown up with cynicism, even hatred towards white people. No one would have been shocked had he turned to violence to protect himself. But he didn't. Rather, it sparked in him a question. How can someone hate me who doesn't even know me? Years later, he had the opportunity to answer this question. Playing a concert in a predominantly white bar, a Klan member came up to him and told him that he was surprised that a black man could play the blues so well. The man was so ignorant that he had no idea that black people invented the blues. Again, he could have lashed out at the man. He could have rebuked him for his ignorance, condemned him for his inclusion in a hate organization. But he didn't. He invited the man to a drink, taught him about the history of blues and the African-American story, and made a friend. That, I gotta tell you, is a risk. That is something that might not have turned out all too well for old Daryl Davis in the all-white part of town. it would have been much safer to run away, hating that man in his heart. But look at what resulted from that simple encounter. The man ended up leaving the KKK and gave Davis the names of Klan leaders to talk with. It inspired Davis to reach out to others, to have conversations, to show people that they were trapped in ignorant hate themselves, and to set them free from it. Since then, and over the last 30 years, Davis claims to have convinced 40 to 60 men to leave the KKK, having 25 white robes in his possession, and is indirectly responsible for over 200 people leaving the hate group. That's 200 people who were lost but are now found. 200 people who are closer to the kingdom than they were before. So often in situations of danger, we talk about the 3 Fs, fight, flight, or freeze, that these are our only options when we're attacked. But Davis's life points to another one: free. Free the people who attack us from the chains that bind them. Free them from their sins so that they don't attack anyone else. So often we choose to fight, but when we fight fire with fire, when we return violence for violence, nobody wins, because both sides will inevitably become more entrenched in their position with the added defense of being a victim. But it's worse than that. When we try to win an argument, when we try to hurt our enemy, to humiliate or harm them, we make it more than likely that they will be farther away from the kingdom than when they started. Think about that. They may have hated us first. We may be justified in hating them. But do we really want to be the reason that someone is farther away from salvation? Our goal is to save people, not to beat them in arguments. The fact that someone hates us or causes us difficulty isn't reason for us to hurt or dismiss them. It should motivate us to love them more. As Jesus says, what good is it to love those who already love us? They're already saved. They're already on the right path. They don't need witnessing to. It is precisely the ones who hate us, who hurt us, who mock us, who make our lives more difficult that Jesus sends us to in the first place. They're the ones who need love the most. It pains me to see Christians who either don't get this or who outright ignore this, who condemn others for doing wrong, who worry more about their own safety than about the lost soul of another. What good is keeping your life if you spend it without complete love for others? For what does St. Paul say? If I speak in human and angelic tongues but do not have love, I am a resounding gong or a clashing cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and comprehend all mysteries and all knowledge, if I have all faith so as to move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away everything I own, and if I hand my body over so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Nothing. We are nothing without love. We are nothing if we hate even a single person, no matter what they've done to us. When we die and come face to face with Jesus, he is going to ask us what we did for the least ones. He's going to ask us how we helped those who were in need, the poor, the hungry, the prisoner, the foreigner, the ignorant, the one who attacked us, the sinner. I pray with every fiber of my being that no one who has ever watched a video of mine will come to that moment shocked when Jesus asks this question. I pray that everyone who has ever heard me preach walks away determined to rid the hate not only from their own heart, but from the hearts of their neighbors, that they would see it as their life's goal to save the sinner, not condemn them. I don't know who came to mind for you at the beginning of this video when I asked who you hated, but I do know this. You cannot and will not enter the kingdom of heaven until you are able to let that hatred go and to learn to truly love them. My brothers and sisters, loving your enemies is not optional, and there will be no exceptions. If there is nothing you do for the rest of your life, learn to do this.